Hello everybody and welcome to Letterbox Book Club. My name is Claire.
And I'm Mackenzie.
And today we will be discussing Gleam, the third book in Raven Kennedy's Plated Prisoner series.
Woohoo.
Woohoo, we love to see it. We're smashing through it.
Yeah, I will start off. I did read the first 3 in 3 days.
Yeah, that's right. You devoured this.
My bad. I'll start us off with the blurb. King Midas made me the woman I am today. Notorious, unattainable, his. The thing about being confined is that you believe it's to keep the bad out, until you realise it's about keeping you in. I'm now in a strange kingdom surrounded by liars with no allies of my own, but I won't sit idly by and let myself wither. No, there's something that's bloomed from the pit of my repression, something dark, something angry. But the last thing I expected was for my anger to call out to him, King Ravager. He's sinister and powerful and entirely too seductive. I've learned my lesson with trusting manipulative kings, so why does my chest constrict every time he's near? I need to tread carefully or I'm at risk of losing much more than just my freedom. Regret and revenge war inside of me and I need to figure out a plan fast before I get tangled up in the schemes of kings and queens. Because I won't be caught in a cage again. No, this time it'll be me setting the trap. I just hope my heart comes out of this unscathed.
Lovely. Thoughts, feelings and emotions, Kenzie?
I liked this book. I'm a liar. I loved this book. It was the first one in the series that actually started to feel like things were happening.
Yep, I agree.
I have qualms, but that's okay. We will get to those. But yeah, it felt like it wasn't just exposition and world building and like plot devices to move the story along. It was actually like enthralling plot happening.
Like it was productive. Like things were happening.
Yeah, it was productive. Things were happening. Thoughts were happening. Feelings were happening.
Scheming.
Emotions were happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was scheming. There was sexy times.
We even knew it was going to happen.
We've been new, obviously.
My thoughts, feelings and emotions. Is it actually a good book or is it only good because of the last 100 pages? No, yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Way!
A bit of a delayed reaction there, Kenzie. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I smashed it out in a day, which was very surprising for me because I didn't expect it to be like over 600 pages. Because like I was checking my Kindle and it was like 350 pages and it's like you're still 50% of the way there. I'm like, what the fuck? So I had to keep on going. But yeah, no, I enjoyed
why I turn my like thing off where it says like how much is left, because I find I'll get stuck at like 50 or 60%, like oh my god there's so much more to go, but then I like smash through it, so I'm like, well, that wasn't accurate, was it?
Yeah, no, but like I was reading like all afternoon and I was like, how far am I in? And yeah, it was just like 50 odd percent at 350 something. I was like, what the fuck? I was bamboozled. But no, I enjoyed the plot twists and the turns and the productivity of this book almost, but it still felt in a way stagnant just because they're just at the castle and it's just constantly traversing around
the castle. There wasn't any other like locations. And then
I'm enjoying Oren's like development, like getting a backbone and pushing Midas to the limits and stuff like that. I loved how she kind of broke out of her little, I suppose, love haze towards him and like leaning more towards Rip and Ravager, or I suppose we could just call him Slade from now on. Yeah, Slade. Yes. And their relationship and like what his motivations are moving forward and his plans for the future. Yeah. A lot of things. Yeah, just very productive, I would say, this book. And there was like one revelation that I thought, is it a bit too much? But then I slept on it and then I figured it was pretty cool. But we can talk about that a little later. Oh, I can get into it now if you want.
We can start getting into it.
All right. Go ahead. So the Midas revelation that he is a guy named Barden East from back in the day.
I had that as well.
Oh, in the moment as I was reading it, I was like, this is too much because we already had the Rip already being somebody else. So I thought, well, what's the point in having... I don't know, it's too much having a second person
and
already...
then, I know, especially when she's like... This is one of my qualms. When she was like, oh, I spent... like my life running from him just to like end up in his arms or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but like he wasn't even that much of a threat, like as Barden East. It was just like he wants you as a saddle or whatever. Like he wants you to work for him. And then she's like, I'm not going to work for him, I'm going to run away. And then it's him anyway.
Yeah, that's what I thought in the moment. I slept on it for the night. And then I thought about it the next day. And I was like, You know what? Narratively, it's actually pretty wickedly cool how, it's like a full circle moment where, she'd been essentially, running from him for most of her life, essentially, because she is such, like, a prized as a saddle and whatever. And that he, literally became, like, a lover in disguise as, like, the enemy, and, like, he was able to build his newly found empire just from her and the manipulation of her. I thought that was, again, wickedly cool, but then, in the moment when I read it, I thought...
just didn't think it hit as hard because I don't think he was built up enough as a big enough threat in her past.
Because we only learned of him in this book.
Yeah, and also, you don't see him, you just hear about him, and I guess that makes him a bit more ominous or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it hit as hard because we're like, it's this unknown, just goon.
Yeah, just this, entity, slumlord entity, and we're supposed to be afraid of him.
Surely you would... like, there'd be rumours or, like, talks or whatever if Barden East... because Barden East suddenly disappeared as well then. So you'd think there'd be talk of, like, oh, what happened to him? Like, was he murdered? Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if we'd had, like, a little bit of that thrown in there. Like just that he'd gone missing as well or something.
Yeah, admittedly, I skimmed some aspects of Oren's prologue chapters just because I wanted to get to the now. Like, I know the important stuff, but I want to get to the now. And like, I saw the name Barden East and I was like, all right, this fucker, whatever, I don't care about him. And then, he pops up again later.
Yeah.
But then it makes me intrigued because this was all happening in Third Kingdom. And then Midas later on, is set to be wed to Queen Kyla. And so it's interesting that, like, it's sort of entwined in that way because, being a slumlord from there, like, what does she know that and all that type of stuff? And is she going to have a part in that? And then it makes it more interesting about why he killed King Folk of the Fifth Kingdom, because he was a flesh trader, and it's like, look, I'm killing these people, when really he's just probably taken out his fucking competition.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that was just my initial qualm. Like, the revelation in the moment, I thought this is too much because, we already had a person already not who they claim to be, or at least hiding who they truly are, and then now we have it again in the next book. I just thought too much, but then I thought it was pretty cool in the end.
Also, oh my god, what was I going to say? I didn't like how it was, like, only in this book that we started to get these, like, flashback chapters, like, as a, literary device.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like if you're going to have a writing style, just keep it kind of the same throughout the whole thing. Like, I guess that there were only, like, hints and stuff about what happened in Aaron's past. Yeah, it's like, well, if you're going to explore that earlier as well, instead of just suddenly, like, oh, I need to flesh out the pages, so here's some flashbacks.
Yeah, I think that's what I said initially, or I tried to explain last week, is that, like, there are all these hints, and then, we make out, like, guesses as to what's going on, obviously, and then it turns out to be true. Like, why is she, I suppose, out of fear and stuff, and all the, like, accidental deaths she's caused, like, she's trying to forget about, like, her past away anyway, or, like, the trauma is making her forget who she is, and then now she's, like, stepping into her own, like, everything, her mind is opening up to everything again, I guess. But it just felt weird, like, you're holding back so much, and this is the third book in, and we're just like touching the surface of who Oren is and everything. But all right, what other qualms do you have? It's almost like throwing a glass with, like, Selena and Aelin. Like, it gets to the third book and suddenly, we get a bit of a switcheroo happening.
My notes are so funny. I didn't like, I enjoyed how, and also, sorry, disclaimer, because we, like, audiobook / read, obviously pronunciations, and we don't agree with it, but everyone's like, Lady Aaron, not Oren, so why is a fucking U there? Because, as you were saying, it's just like a Lauren without the L.
Yeah.
So you would assume it's Oren.
We said the same thing with, like, Kyla, because I assumed it was, like, Kayla.
Yeah, same, but it's Kyla.
And old mate, Niven.
Yeah. I'm bamboozled by that one.
Because I know, like, the reason why I thought it would have been Niven, because there's a League of Legends character named Riven, and so I just, switched the R in the N, like Niven, but then it's Niven.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
It's Niven. Like, okay, then don't, again.
How embarrassing for the audiobooks to get it totally wrong,
Yeah. So anyway, one of my qualms is that I enjoy how Lady Aaron has, like, this backbone stuff, going on now, and she's finding her own. However, one, she's just back in the same place that she started with Midas, just sans a cage.
Mm-hmm.
But also, there is a time and a place to stand your ground
Mm-hmm.
when you're in such precarious situations. And I enjoy that she's pushing and she's like, I'm not going to be caged or whatever. But I feel like she brought, not that she, I'm not victim shaming.
Victim blaming.
She brought some things on herself. I feel like she pushed herself.
Yeah, I agree.
And she pushed and pushed and pushed, and it's like, what were you going to expect to happen? And I have thoughts and feelings about what does happen, and we'll get into that, but I'm just like, especially when he hit her, and it's just like, and then he's like, oh my god, like, I'm so full of shame, blah, 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 and it's like, okay, cool, and then she continues to push him, and it's like, you are putting yourself in danger, stop putting yourself in danger.
Yeah, it's like, there's like 3 or 4 like encounters where it's just them two arguing and her being like, let me walk around the castle, or like trying to compromise more freedoms and stuff, which obviously she's in a right to do, but Midas is just so stubborn, and he's like not changing his mind, and it's like, at that point you got to toe the line a little bit until you get your plan. But I suppose she's got like Rissa up her ass being like, get me the fuck out of here, get me the gold, get me a map or something, and so a bit of a time constraint. But like, she's constantly getting caught, and at that point you'd want to play civil for a little while at least, so to calm down and have another chance. But it's like, constantly getting caught, constantly going out again, constantly getting caught. And I kind of agreed, like, not victim blaming in a way, but like, there was no real like thought into her plans. It was all like kind of impulsive, which is fair enough because she doesn't want to be caged anymore, and like I respect that. But like, you just gotta, like, it's okay to just like have a chill and like twiddle your thumbs for a little bit and then think things through, because obviously Rip isn't going anywhere until she says so anyway. So
and also like, she's able to get out at night, like she knows how to get down the balcony, she knows how to sneak around, and it's like, just play the like placid little slave saddle during the day or whenever Midas comes for you, because there's a lot of times where she like doesn't see Midas for days on end or whatever, and it's like, when you see him, just pretend, and then when he's not around, like, go do your thing, like do the like hard yards work to get out while he's not got eyes on you. Like, while he's got eyes on you, shut the fuck up.
It's funny how she thinks that she's like charmed the guards into like not thinking that they're going to tell Midas what she's been up to. Like, she just has that still naivety about her. Like when she first started gallivanting around and the guards were like, what the fuck are you doing? Please go back to your room. And like, as if they're not going to tell him what's been going on. And like, everyone would see her out and about anyway, and like they would have told him.
Especially Schofield or whatever. It's like, you've only just met this guard. Like, sure, he wants to be friendly to you because you're a new shiny toy, literally. But it's like, his loyalty is going to be to the guy who he assumes has the power and is going to provide him with gold.
Yeah, for sure. But it was interesting in that sense as well that like you got the two like rules and laws of like the two different kingdoms, because obviously the Sixth Kingdom, especially, like, no one's allowed to touch her. Like, it's explicitly clear. And like the guards of the Fifth Kingdom is all like still kind of learning that sort of ropes as well. Having Midas like rule. But just her gallivanting around, and she really pushed the boundaries, which is great. But then it led to awful consequences, and it's like could have held up at some point, because honestly there was no sense of urgency to really do anything. They just kind of plodded around for like days.
And then also just the like, you're in love with Slade, stop ignoring it.
But we need the angst, Kenzie.
I don't care.
See, even your baby agrees.
She's trying to shit.
That's how she feels about that ship, then.
Yes.
But I think I had another qualm, but it's just probably me being nitpicky. Just when Oren and Slade have sex those 2 times, it's like just the dirty talk or whatever coming from Slade. It's like, you sound no worse than someone who was like assaulting her or being paid for her time.
One of my stars is like that.
You know what she's been through, like, just be, I don't know, it would have been nice if he was just like gentler, or not even gentler, just like, you know, I'm only gonna do like what you want me to do, you know, none of this like possessiveness shit, even though it's in the name of being Fae, and that's what how Faes react towards each other, blah,
but
blah,
it's
blah.
like, it's like my Fae nature, blah blah, and it's like, okay, cool, but like
she has trauma, bro. Yeah, like,
That's one of my qualms coming up as well in like the next book, because there's a fair amount of sex scenes.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, like the dirty talk, it just takes me out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they wouldn't, I don't know, like, and just like cock and like come for me, baby, etc. and blah blah blah. And it's like you wouldn't be talking like this. I don't know. Again, it makes it too modern.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say as well, like what sort of, I don't know, era is this kind of meant to be? Like very medieval, magical style, and then like
yeah, well, they don't have electricity or indoor plumbing.
Yeah, oh bugger, but like when Slade calls her baby, I thought, yeah, that's a little bit too modern, because there's been no other like sort of pet names around that regard. And then he's like, yeah, like come for me, baby, or listen to me, baby, or whatever, you know. I just thought the baby itself, yeah, it just took me out of it as well.
Yeah, it just
because obviously they're just being called saddles or whores or lovers or whatever, and like there's no like real term of endearment.
And he's called her love, I think, before.
Oh yeah, he did say that in this one.
Yeah, so like why not use that? And then just like I just compare it to like other fantasy books that we've read or whatever, and there's like they don't use baby or whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't say come for me.
Yeah. Yeah, very modern in that sense. But yeah, I suppose that's just me being nitpicky as well.
No, it's being normal.
Because I just want Oren to have a pleasant time, and I want her to like, because like this book is fucking heartbreaking for her, bro.
Yeah.
And like even learning about with her prologue chapters, like, you know, yeah, she just turned 15, she's working with this guy, and he's like, you're 15 now, you're gonna have to, you know, pretty much stay in this fucking tavern and just lie there. And it's just like,
you're an Orient adult, so you have sex now.
Yeah, and it's just like, just so weirdly just too descriptive, and it's just so heartbreaking. And then Rip's having sex with her and is like super possessive about it. It's like, bro, relax. I think we could probably talk a little bit about like Queen Melina and get her out of the way. How tragic. Queen Melina, all she had to do was be better than Midas in every way, and she fucking fumbled the bag so hard. To be fair, Midas, once he finds out that she's not responding to him and she's pretty much AWOL, you know, he's obviously encouraged this revolution or whatever, rebellion. So, like, she fumbled so hard, unfortunately. And yeah, she had a few chapters, obviously, escaping the castle, and we see Sir Pruin again, and she has her saddle Geo there.
Yeah, and also, like because there's the pregnant saddle.
Yeah, missed.
And then, so Midas just writes a letter and is like, yo, like, we're just going to pretend that this is your kid to Melina. It's like, you know what? Take that deal.
Yeah, you know what? That's better than nothing.
Yeah, and she's like, if he thinks I'm going to raise some saddle's child or whatever, it's like, take that deal. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you finally get your child that you want. It's like medieval adoption.
Medieval adoption. Yeah, I get that, but I don't think but the thing is, he's manipulated to the point where Mist thinks that she's going to be high and mighty and she's going to be one to raise the kid, and then Midas is like, yeah, not really, it's going to be Melina, and I don't know. I think just the way she feels about the saddles would impact severely of how she felt about the baby anyway, so like, she probably wouldn't have been kind to it anyway. Yes, loving her downfall, just because she hated Oren, just because she's I suppose we would also kind of be, I don't know, worried about your relationship if you had a golden girl steal his attention away, I guess.
But again, this is the thing, and I touched on it last time as well. It's like she's so pissed at Midas for having like the favourite or whatever, and then all the saddles or whatever, and then here she is with her saddle.
Yeah. God, maybe Geo just doesn't do it as much.
It would be different if she wasn't allowed to have any. Yeah, it's you're doing the same thing.
Hypocrite.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she ends up fleeing a castle. She goes into some fucking cabin, and then they eventually get found again. And Sir Pruin is like leading the way. And then I just kind of skipped a lot of that because I just don't care. Like, she's lost her kingdom. She's Midas has declared to every other kingdom that she's dead when she's not.
Yeah.
Does she pop up again?
She does.
Ooh.
Also, Geo dies.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Saving her.
Killed.
It's a shame though.
The last chapter in the fourth book is Melina, or the prologue.
Ooh.
The epilogue.
She's coming. There's just a lot, happening in terms of like the political aspect. Because Melina is now gonna. Oh, she probably doesn't know Midas is dead yet, so that's gonna be a fun thing to learn. for her. But yeah, I really just skipped her chapters. We got a Slade point of view chapter, which was nice. I forget what the context was. I think it had to do with... Oh, it was just his point of view at the end of the book when Oren goes crazy. I mean, as she should. And I think we also had a Midas point of view as well. Yeah, and then he finds out that... that's when he finds out Melina is up to something, and he finds out about Mist pregnant. See, I like that. I like that it's shown that everyone finds out what they need to find out.
Yeah. Because
sometimes it's just left assumed. Yeah. Or it's not made explicitly clear in some books. And you're just like, well, how did they know that happened? But at least with this, even if it is like one chapter of like that character's point of view, you get to see them figure out everything and let them... And you also see them unravel their plans as well. Although I was still a bit confused with the whole Midas and that like sculpture guy, because it just looked like his father or something.
Oh yeah, it looked like his dad.
And then Midas ends up dying anyway, so like what's the point of that thing? Maybe it's like a guilt.
It just shows like how diabolical he is or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And how greedy and how awful he is.
And that is just unraveling.
Yeah. What do we think of Prince Niven? Niven. Poor kid. His father's died. Old mate is taking charge, and he's mouthing off.
Yeah. I think he's just a spoilt little princeling.
Yeah. Princeling, yeah. And, like, he made a statement at, like, that breakfast. He's like, we have to go after Rot, and then Slade rocks up.
Yeah, it's like, oopsies.
Oh, yep. Also, super confirmed. Well, even though you told me last week, technically, about Slade having a brother.
Oh, yeah, one of my notes was, who is fake Slade?
Yeah, but the annoying thing... Alright, another quick qualm. When Oren was in the camp, she got snuck out to the camp by Lou, and she encounters fake Slade, and all she does is refer to him as fake Slade, which is fine. But when Slade actually rocked up, and like they were in the room together or whatever, like could Slade have not just introduced her? Be like, hey, this is my brother. Hey, his name is Riot, I think. Or does the audiobook say something? And yeah, we'd have introductions that way. But no, we only learned of his last name in Slade's point of view chapter at the very end. I'm like, why are we like holding on to these mysteries when like they've clearly now interacted? Let's like have that reveal when everyone's together.
And there's also not any like real significance around it,
other than like, yeah, he's the decoy.
Yeah, and it's like also it could have been cooler if it was Slade astral projecting.
Yeah. All right, Kenzie, maybe you should write a book about Faye's astral projecting and decoying for themselves.
Yes.
But it was so funny how when Midas was finding out about Oren and her, I don't know, sneaky link with the commander, yeah, it was always directed towards fake Slade because, and he's like, bro, like I have nothing to do with her. It was just such a funny little thing. And when he picked her up for the harp and everything. Yeah. And then when he was like locked in the dungeon because, you know, in the end, and then he's like, I told you she doesn't fucking like me or whatever. And it was great. It was just so funny. Small comedic moments.
Yeah, comedic relief.
But yeah, I just feel like Oren and Riot introduction there was an opportunity and it could have been taken. Like, there didn't need to be an extra layer of mystery about it. I suppose we can get to the juice, because the juice happens at the end, essentially. Although we do meet, the Third Kingdom of Royals. We meet Queen Kyla, and she has a brother named Manu, and he has a husband, Keon. Raven said gay rights.
Yes, and I like it when things like this are just dropped on us. And it's like, we're not making a big deal of it. It is what it is. It's like, yes, nice, we love the rep. And so far, there's no bury your gays. So
Lovely. I was just thinking, the bury your gays thing just made me think of this. These books do not pass the Bechdel test, right? Surely they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Surely they don't.
Lou and Aaron talking about wine. Lou and Rissa talking about gold and stuff.
In the very first book, though, like, the Saddles would be talking about how they're jealous with Midas. Surely.
Yeah, I don't think the first one passes, but...
Alright. But anyway, sorry. So we learn Queen Kyla's superpower. She can, like, take people's voices away, and she can, like, use, I suppose, the power of voices to, like, draw out secrets from people, and she can hear secrets and stuff.
And, she can also manipulate the voices.
Yeah. So, which is pretty cool.
Remember that.
Yeah, pretty cool. I am remembering that. And so Midas is holding, like, a breakfast or a dinner or whatever in, like, Third Kingdom's honor, because that was the thing in the last book, that Third Kingdom was coming.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like a revelry celebration sort of period of time because everyone's allied with somebody and everyone's happy to a degree. But I love that we get to see, because Queen Kyla asks Midas for a demonstration, his gold-touched demonstration. And we always wondered, like, how do they play it off?
Yeah.
And so it's obviously a little sleight of hand scheme that Oren and Midas have pulled off before, but we get to see it for the first time, see it in action.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked the way they did it, that, like, it was, like, at the last second, like, she took her hand off, like, as she passed him, like, something.
Yeah, and then it's gold, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked...
But then Oops, sorry.
No, you go.
What did we say the same thing?
We might say the same thing.
I like how she was a little bit disobedient because he just wanted to gild the goblet or whatever, and she just gilded the whole freaking table that they were sitting at.
and everything on it, essentially. Yeah, I like that she again, she's like, you got to pick your battles as well. Like, without having the extra sort of tension of them, like, it could have been a nice humiliating moment without any significant consequence. But because of being caught constantly and, like, he's describing her as not behaving very well, like, probably wasn't the wisest move, but it's nice to see Midas, like, semi kind of scared and or humiliated / embarrassed because he wasn't able to do the goblet part. And then, she's like, the whole table, and Kyla's like, oh, that's so impressive, blah, blah, blah.
Like, oh my god.
And then he's, like, pulling his authority and being like, Oren, why don't you play the harp? Like, again, like, essentially back in Sixth Kingdom, like, she's still being treated as she is.
As an object. Yeah, she's just entertainment.
Yeah, entertainment, that's right. And then, Midas obviously talks down to her, and, like, everyone in Slade is hearing it, and she's a bit, obviously, embarrassed by that.
But you can see that Slade's, like, white-knuckling.
Yeah. And then, obviously, that leads to a greater argument later on, which, in that event, he does slap her.
Yes. Midas slaps her.
Yeah, Midas slaps her, sorry. And, and it all goes downhill from there. But, at that point, you reel it in, you know? Like, not to victim blame, but, like, you reel it in.
Yeah.
Because he's becoming erratic and unpredictable.
Yes.
And Oren! Oren is also still constantly visiting the saddles, which, why?
Yeah. It's like, they fucking hate you. Like, give up. I'm sorry, but...
Yeah, but I suppose you have to go through them to talk to Rissa.
Yeah.
I like their blossoming friendship or acquaintanceship or whatever.
Relationship,
sure. And it's all obviously down to escape, and Oren is Rissa's hope, because she still believes, obviously, that Oren's taken a bit of Midas's power.
I know, she still is like, how have you done this? And it's like, don't be a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Although, actually, like, just wait.
Yeah. Oh, we actually have another Slade point of view. It's when him and Midas have a bit of a chitty chat.
Oh, yes.
Midas is, like, kind of low-key threatening him about knowing that Oren's been sneaking off to see him, all that type of stuff, or that he's been touching her, blah, blah, blah.
I also like how they kind of tell us as well, but, like, when they're talking, when all the, like, kingdom politics and stuff come up, it's all about, like, subtext and what you're not saying. That's cool.
The deceiving.
Yeah.
And Midas brings up again Slade's interest in Deadwell, and it turns out there was a village there that is of some significance, I assume.
One of my notes is Deadwell. Something is up at Deadwell.
Yeah. And there's this place called Drollard Village that Slade knows of, and he frequents, apparently. But it's not on any map, so that's sussy-wussy to Midas, and it's also sussy-wussy to us as the reader. And Slade is getting a bit anxious because he knows, Midas is pulling the whole, we're gonna, redo the maps and remake all the borders and stuff, and, like, Slade hates that Midas has people there sniffing around. And that kind of influences him to wanting to leave a little bit sooner, but, like, we don't know till later, but he's only hanging around because he wants to save Oren, essentially, and he wants to take her away. Mm-hmm. But, he's not going to do that until she says so. Which is cute. We love that, though.
Yeah.
And as you confirmed already last week, Lou revealed her little secret power, or a little trick that she does with diverting, like, attention, so she was able to sneak Oren out into the 4th camp, which was nice. It was nice seeing everybody again. I thought we weren't going to see, like, Kagan that for a while, because they have no real use being in the castle. Love a bit of a camp revelry. And then that's when they have sex for the first time. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Or second time, doesn't matter.
It just reminded me of his moans of pleasure drowned out their sounds of being injured and died.
Yes.
Because I always think about this, like, it's like they're in tents. It's like, have you ever been in a tent? Like, they're not soundproof.
No, they are definitely not soundproof. It's very, like, thin fabric in there.
Yeah. Also, going back a little bit as well, Aaron sneaks into, like, the Royal Library or whatever, and she finds a book about Fae, and she, like, goes to, like, the back page or whatever, and there is, like, a Fae couple, and she feels, like, really, like, drawn to it or whatever, and I was like, are these her parents?
Me too. Yep.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in the first prologue chapter, which is the first chapter of the book, she's, like, kind of, like, reminiscing what she can remember about her time and her parents, and she said that, like, her parents used to call her, like, little sun. So I think, like, she has, like, that sun-shining kind of aspect, goddess power, which obviously then translates to gold in a way. Because the sun is golden. So, yeah, I think that's important.
A lot of talk in this, and like I said, I kind of said it last, because I thought it was in the last book, because I'm an idiot. But there's a lot of talk about flying, and getting your wings, and what happens when you get to the edge, you're going to fly.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening? I think Aaron is a bird.
I mean, goldfinch is a bird, and there's lots of constant metaphors and motifs and descriptions about the birds being let out of the cage, and even when she's going crazy, like, she feels like a bird and a beak and all that type of stuff taking over, blah blah blah. So if she doesn't end up flying, we're gonna fucking riot. Let Oren fly.
Let's talk about Midas has Digby.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Midas lets Aaron go and see Digby.
And
at what point did you realise that something was wrong?
At the entire time that he said that he had Digby.
In the moment, that he's like, let's go see Digby.
The moment when Midas was like, I mean, he's alive, or whatever, but, like, not, like, he didn't say anything else, didn't give any other descriptions away. He's essentially, like, the whipping boy of Oren's indiscretions. Yeah,
so Midas takes Aaron to see Digby, and he is fucking battered.
He is broken,
on the verge of death.
Pretty much.
Midas is like, you've done this, Aaron, because every time you were disobedient to me or whatever, I came down and I fucked him up. And then Aaron is like, fuck you, I'm gonna fucking kill you, blah, 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 essentially. And she attacks Midas. And it is at this point that my heart was having palpitations. And then Midas gets guards come in. Schofield, one of them, fucking bastard.
Yeah, fucking arsehole.
Comes in and holds Aaron against the wall, and Aaron's like, Midas is swinging a sword, and she thinks that he's going to behead Digby, but then he chops off all of her ribbons.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Kenzie? I know you're not the ribbons' biggest fan.
I'm not the ribbons' biggest fan, but it's very sad. I also think it is an excellent metaphor of Midas taking Aaron's innocence.
Yep.
Which is a metaphor for the R word.
Yeah, but it could also just be because she's kind of getting the backbone, he is definitely, taking her down a peg, though. Like, though she's standing up for herself, it's like, no, you are going to be back to being, like, a pet. But it was great, yeah. Yeah, I was tearing up.
Yeah, and then he drugs her on Dew.
Dew? What a name.
I'm assuming it's just, like, ecstasy.
Sure,
because it makes you horny, And I was like, at this point, I was like, oh my god, he is going to sexually assault her.
That's what I thought, as like a punishment. Because he also said, oh no, never mind. I was going to say, because he said he needed an heir, but then he found out Mist was pregnant.
Yeah.
So, anyway. So I thought he was going to take matters into his own hands, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The Jew thing has been prominent throughout the book as well, because all the saddles are being addicted to it, essentially, and Fifth Kingdom is renowned for their Jew services and, like, all the Jew dealings, drug dealings, essentially.
Yeah. It kind of, like, makes you, like, out of your mind as well, because Aaron, like, wakes up and, like, can't remember things and, like, is trying to, like, piece things together.
Yeah, but I think her being fey and magical also kind of enhances that as well. Otherwise, she would have been completely doped out. Because we learned that Polly is getting addicted and Rissa is kind of upset at that.
Yeah.
As soon as, like, Midas demanded the guards, like hold her mouth open or something, and, like, I just knew, like, shit's hitting the fan. So, so she's been drugged, essentially, until the celebration ball. Yeah,
and the celebration ball is when Rissa and, what's her name, Aaron, are like, we're gonna run away on that night. So, there goes that.
Plans have changed. Although, but there was an opportunity for Rissa to take Polly away, but then Rissa's like, no, she wants Oren to take Oren as well, of course.
Yeah. Also, I kept waiting. I thought Slade would come.
Oh, and like save the day?
At some point, yeah.
But he just didn't.
And then he didn't. But that's okay because we find out things.
Yeah. Oh, and even before all this, like, they've kind of semi-confessed to each other that they love each other, but Oren doesn't because love is such a strong word and she doesn't necessarily understand what it means given her upbringing and all that such, which is fair enough.
Yeah, they admit that, like, this is love or whatever, but they don't say it to each other.
Yeah, but she chooses him and he chooses her and it's just beautiful. And it did take some time for, like, Oren to actually figure out that, like, yeah, Midas is a dickhead, which they still had that kind of push and pull. She still had that little bit of loyalty, but yeah, until he slapped her, until after he slapped her, she's like, yeah, fuck this guy, which is fantastic. So yeah, the very end, the celebratory ball.
Say, do you want to talk about the celebratory ball? Where, like, you know that something's going to go wrong because it's going way too easy. Like, everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yeah. Celebratory ball. All the prominent people are there. Queen Kyla is there. Midas announces that him and Kyla are going to wed in order to unite essentially Sixth Kingdom and Third Kingdom. And in a way, Fifth, because he is Phantom ruling it. He's making a toast. He wanted Oren to do another, like, gold demonstration, but she doesn't do that because she's...
Yeah.
I feel like the best excuse was because she was, like, doped out of her mind, but she did it strategically as well. So Midas felt a little bit embarrassed. And so, like, she's hidden away, like, in some, like, rafters or something.
I think she's just up... I think it's, like, she's up on a balcony, and everyone else is, like, down in the ballroom.
Oh, yeah, right. I don't know. The way I was reading...
She goes down and she can see everything happening.
Yeah, I think just because it was late at night and the descriptions weren't matching my vision in my head, so I just assumed she was, like, in the roof or something. Anyway.
Nice.
There's a toast. Everyone has a drink. Prince Niven fucking carks it. Women knew. There'd been Slade had let his guards know that he's been guarding Prince Niven just because he had a feeling that Midas was going to knock him off. And everyone's like, the prince has been poisoned. And then they look at him and it's like... He's been rotted, so it must be Slade. And then Slade gets accused and then the Wrath all gather around. And at this point, Oren is making her way down the balcony, down the stairs. Everyone's in a bit of a panic because, the prince is dead and Midas is trying to calm everything down. Accuses Slade. Slade's at the ready. Oren steps in front of Slade and is like, you don't fucking hurt him, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then Midas is like, Oren, get the fuck over here. And she's like, no, still half doped out of her mind. And I don't know, I think they turned their back to leave and then Midas takes the opportunity to grab her. Boom. Same situation as... King Folk, where he had the knife to her throat, essentially.
Yeah.
And Digby is there chilling because Riot picked him up along the way. What a lad.
Yeah.
And then I think Oren just, like, fucking blasts off with her power. She, like, overrides the drug. She, like, tunnels within herself, within her magic. And, like, the whole room starts essentially, like, bleeding gold. And, like, it's described as, like, a monster. And, like, just everything within her seeping out. And so... I don't know, the gold monster, whatever, like, grabs Midas into the wall. The beast. Yeah. And everyone's running and screaming.
The fucking fan.
Yeah. And then, gold seeping everywhere. Everyone's running. I love this bit, though. Like, Queen Kyla and stuff are fucked off because they're scared, which is fair enough because they don't know what's going on. They think Midas is out of control or something. And then she goes up to Midas. He's, like, being dripped against the wall into gold. And she, like... I forget what she says, but she says something really cool. And then, like, she kisses him on the cheek and, like, taps it, like, 5 times. Because he has an affliction for the number 6. Just to piss him off. And then, he turns to solid gold in the wall. And she's losing control. Slade is trying to convince her to, like, let go. She doesn't know how to do that. And then he essentially rots her into stasis. And bye-bye. Off they go. It's very, like, from Blood and Ash in the whole stasis aspect. I'm like, I've seen this film before. The next book is going to be the past 3 books in Slade's point of view.
It's not. You're welcome.
Alright, thank you. But yeah, so shit hits the fan. Loved it, though, because Oren is, like, letting out all the power and the stress and the anger at Midas, and she kills him in the end, which is great.
But she also can't control, like, just this ocean of gold.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna dip into the first chapter of the next book anyway because it everything takes off one after the other, and it's still kind of seeping out to a point in the next book as well. And then, yeah, it just stops. And then Queen Kyla is like, what the fuck's going on? And then the very last chapter is everything that transpired, but in Slade's point of view. And he's convincing her to, obviously, yeah, stop and be like, let go, baby, all that type of stuff. So
yeah. Sorry, I was just soothing my child.
That's okay. What did you think of this final scene? The calamitous gold event?
I knew something was going to happen.
Because she had to burst eventually.
It was going too easy. And then I knew, that her power had to come out at some point, like all of it. Very dramatic. Yeah, and just wonder what the consequence is of her freaking killing Midas.
Yeah. Like, who's in charge of Fifth now? Fifth is, like, up for grabs.
Yeah, and then, like, who saw what, like...
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
And that's already kind of semi-revealed in the first chapter of the next book anyway.
Yeah. Which
is great. But I might just dip into that. Like, I know we don't really have any rules, but, like, it's only the first chapter, and it takes up right where we left off. So the first chapter in the next book is Kyla's point of view, and she's, like, running out. They see the gold seeping. They don't know what's going on. And then she's frustrated with herself because she's like... I think when Oren speaks to Midas before he dies, she, like, reveals everything about the power and whatever, blah, blah, blah. She has a whole spiel. Yeah, and then Kyla's, like, frustrated with herself because she's like, how did I not know these secrets? So there's a bit of naivety and stupidity. Not stupidity, that's a bit too harsh because she is quite formidable. Yeah. But, like, yeah, that naivety about how she's... If you were set to marry Midas, would you not want to, like, at least try and learn his secrets or coerce him in a way to reveal such things?
I think, at that point, like, she realises that, like, it wasn't his power.
Yeah. And then, obviously, within that first chapter, Mist is, like, declaring Oren stole his power, and she's, like, fucking everything up.
She's an idiot.
That's that, and obviously that's going to be significantly consequential moving forward. But yeah, lovely, very dramatic ending. Yeah, it's just the puttering around in the castle. But now we probably get to see what Fourth Kingdom's like, because obviously Slade is going to head back to his homeland.
Do you think? Seems pretty far away.
Don't do that to me, Kenzie. What, they're going to stop by Sixth on the way?
Don't know where they're going.
They might go straight to Deadwell, actually. That's actually pretty close.
Yeah?
Yeah,
maybe.
I reckon.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Alrighty, shall we go to the Stars That Listen?
Got several because they're funny and they're good.
So the Stars That Listen is where we read a 1-star review and a 5-star review from Goodreads just for some shits and gigs. We start with the 1-star first because we want to end on a positive note because the 5 stars, they're golden.
Nice.
I'm actually upset that we have not actually utilised the amount of gold puns, but I suppose...
Okay, fine, we will in the next one. I'll find some good gold puns.
Okay, we need some gold puns. Yeah, I'm actually quite disappointed in myself.
Would you like me to start?
Sure.
I have 2, as always. Yes, I have nothing but complaints. Yes, I'm going to let myself be dragged through 700 more pages of non-existent plot plus incoherent writing because of that last chapter. No, I do not want to talk about it.
Lovely.
And then I have another one. Trigger warning, sexual assault, rape and child abuse. Did not finish this book. Stuck to my will to read away for about a week. I think I pushed through in an effort to see what everyone loved about it, but the book glamorized the sexual assault for me too much. Spoiler, the sex scene made me physically ill. This woman who was sexually abused for years is totally okay with this guy slamming at home with little to no foreplay.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. She's perfectly fine with no emotional trauma. ? This author depicts sexual assault survivors as if they just get over it when a new guy who treats them mildly okay comes along.
Yeah, love that. And that's exactly right. Like, surely, you have an upbringing, you've been traumatized to an extent. Surely there is some reservations into being, like, welcomingly intimate with somebody as well.
Yeah.
Alright, my 1-star review. What were you thinking? You took a semi-decent character, made her insipid, puny, disgusting, stupid, and so weak. You took a book that was going somewhat good and ruined it. People made it seem like the series was good. It's not worth it. It's disappointing. The only strong female characters were Lou and the Queen of Third Kingdom. I have never been so disappointed in a book until this one. Please don't give us any more. Alrighty. And then 5-star reviews. Do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
I have 2 in the same screenshot.
Let me just finish cutting off my cuticle.
Oh, good.
SJM, who? Jennifer L. Armentrout, who? Make way for Raven Kennedy. And then I have, yes, I finished all 3 books in little over a day. No, I'm not okay.
Damn, that's a lot. Alright, my 5-star reviews, again, in the same screenshot. My friends weren't kidding. This book broke me. It was everything I needed and more. Orip is my new favourite ship and nobody can compare. I'm surprised that's what they called.
Yeah.
And then the next one in the screenshot, romance doesn't hurt me like this, y'all. I feel like there wasn't a lot of romance, but like, sure, you get the cute moments and the inevitable sexual tension and then the sex. It's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty, thank you everyone for listening, unless there are final thoughts, Kenzie.
No, the next book is very, very good, so I'm excited.
Yeah, you sent me a what the fuck, and I don't know why, I always just connotate it with being bad, so I was like, is it bad?
I know, but then again, it is the last 100 pages, so.
Yeah, of course.
And also, yeah, I'll talk about it when we talk about it.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting excited. Anyway, thanks for listening. Check us out on the socials, link in the bio on Instagram and on TikTok.
Yes.
Find us in all the places. Keep an ear out for next week with Glow.
Yes.
Or are we going to do a little in between? Or
well, are we doing? I don't know what this, because we've got to do the spoopy ones.
Yeah, I think we're just going to smash all of this out in
cool.
November. Why not? And then we'll figure the rest out from there.
Cool.
Too easy. All right. Catch you next week for Glow.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.